When Lily first said it, I thought she was joking. We were standing in the kitchen on a quiet Sunday morning. Coffee brewing, sunlight spilling across the counter, when I leaned in to kiss her like I always did. But she turned her head away and muttered, "Mark, stop, the passion's gone." The words landed heavier than I expected. "The passion's gone?" I repeated, half smiling, waiting for her to laugh, to tell me she was teasing. But she didn't. She just sighed, brushing past me to grab her phone. I stood there, staring at the spot where she'd been, realizing that something inside her had shifted long before she said it out loud. We'd been married for 7 years. Not perfect years, but ours. We built a life together out of routines and shared dreams. But lately she'd grown distant. Date nights canceled, late returns from work, and that soft tenderness in her eyes had turned into polite tolerance. I kept telling myself it was just a phase. Every couple goes through it, right? But that morning when she pulled away from my kiss, I knew it was more than a phase. It was a quiet ending in progress. I tried to fix it. Flowers, surprise dinners, small notes in her bag. But every gesture met the same reaction. A faint smile, a distracted nod, and then back to her screen. The warmth between us had turned into an obligation. And as much as it hurt to admit it, I could feel her slipping away, piece by piece. Then one night, as I was doing dishes, I heard her talking to a friend on the phone. Her voice was low, but I caught the words that changed everything. "He's a good man, but I just don't feel anything anymore." My hands froze in the soapy water. It wasn't anger that hit me, it was grief. The kind that doesn't make noise, just quietly breaks something deep inside you. I didn't confront her that night. Instead, I walked into our bedroom, looked at her sleeping face, and realized how far apart we drifted even while sharing the same bed. So I made a decision. If the passion was gone for her, maybe it was time I stopped clinging to what no longer existed. I stopped begging for affection. I stopped chasing her attention. I stopped being the only one fighting for something that clearly only mattered to me. In the weeks that followed, I stopped trying to fix her silence. Instead, I started listening to it. There was something strangely liberating about not having to pretend anymore. Not having to chase the version of Lily I'd fallen in love with years ago. She noticed, of course. The way I no longer asked about her day. The way I no longer reached for her hand during car rides. One night she asked, "Are you okay?" I smiled faintly and said, "I'm learning to be." That confused her. Maybe she thought I'd keep trying forever. She began dressing differently. New perfume, new clothes, long hours out with coworkers. I didn't ask questions. I'd already learned the truth didn't come from her words. It came from her absence. The woman who once couldn't fall asleep without my arm around her now turned her back to me every night. Then one evening while scrolling through social media, I saw a photo that made everything crystal clear. Lily at a rooftop bar, leaning too close to a man I didn't recognize. The caption read, "When energy aligns, souls connect." Her friends flooded the comments with hearts and fire emojis. My heart didn't even race, it just went still. I didn't confront her right away. I waited. Observed. Because when someone tells you the passion's gone, it's usually because they've already found it somewhere else. A few days later, she came home later than usual. I was sitting in the living room, calm, almost detached. "Had a good night?" I asked casually. She froze for a second before smiling. "Yeah, networking event. You know how it is." "Networking," I repeated, nodding slowly. "Like the one with the guy from your Instagram?" Her face lost its color. "You're checking my socials now?" she snapped. "No," I said quietly. "Just happened to see what you're not saying." There was silence, heavy, suffocating. Then she sighed. "Mark, you're making something out of nothing. He's just a friend." I smiled faintly. Friends don't inspire captions about souls aligning. She glared, grabbed her purse, and locked herself in the bedroom. I didn't follow. I didn't need to. That night I slept on the couch, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. It was the first peaceful sleep I'd had in months. And somewhere between midnight and morning, I realized something powerful. I wasn't losing Lily anymore. I was finally losing the illusion of who she used to be. The next morning, Lily came out of the bedroom with puffy eyes and a forced smile. "We should talk," she said softly. I nodded, setting my coffee down, waiting for the performance to begin. "I think we've both been distant," she started. Maybe we can try again, take a trip, reset things. It almost sounded sincere, almost. But then I saw the flicker in her eyes, the one that appeared every time she needed control again. Try again? I asked, my voice calm. You mean pretend again? Her face tightened. You're being dramatic, Mark. No, I said, standing up. I'm being honest. Something you stopped being a long time ago. She looked away, her lips trembling slightly. It was just, I don't know, excitement. He made me feel alive again. There it was, the confession she didn't realize she was giving. And what did I make you feel, Lily? I asked quietly. She hesitated. Safe. Comfortable. Comfortable, I repeated, letting the word hang between us. Like an old sweater you outgrew but can't throw away. Her silence said everything. And for the first time I didn't feel anger. I felt clarity. I walked to the bedroom, grabbed a small suitcase and began packing. What are you doing? She asked, her voice shaking. I'm giving you what you wanted, I said. Freedom. You said the passion's gone. Maybe now you'll find it where you left it. She followed me to the door, panic flickering in her eyes. You're overreacting. We can fix this. Lily, I interrupted softly. You can't fix something you broke on purpose. I left without another word. No dramatic goodbye, no slamming doors. Just the sound of my own footsteps echoing down the hallway. For weeks after, she texted, called, even showed up at my office once. Mark, please. I made a mistake, she said through tears. You can't just walk away from everything we've built. But I already had. Because what we built wasn't love anymore, it was survival. Months passed. Divorce papers signed, silence settled. Then out of nowhere she texted. I miss you. Can we talk? I stared at the screen for a long time, then replied. You were right, Lily. The passion's gone. Only now, it's me who doesn't feel it. And for the first time since that Sunday morning in the kitchen, I smiled. Because sometimes, losing someone who doesn't value you isn't a tragedy. It's a release. That was the day I finally understood what real passion felt like. Not chasing her love, but reclaiming my peace.